Welcome to the Sigma Empath podcast. This is the rant edition, no guest. I'm just going to share my expertise, my insights, my opinions on a very specific topic. And today's topic has to do with the roadblocks that prevent empaths, neurodivergents, and other highly sensitive human beings from progressing, from growing, from becoming truly empowered. And it's based on a couple of mindset attributes that really hold people back. As I do share my expertise, please, I invite you to share your comments, your agreement, your respectful disagreement. Is it bringing you value? Have you had another experience that is different to the one that I'm sharing? Have you now become aware of this mindset roadblock that is preventing you from becoming empowered? I'm also the creator of the Empath Way. You can get it in book version. It is also an online course. Check out the link in the description below. Let's dive into this one mindset that prevents people from growing. And it can be linked to a very specific phrase that really epitomizes this general collective mindset. In order to grow, in order to evolve and become a new, more empowered version of the current version of you today, one must be willing to embrace new ways of doing and new ways of thinking. If we keep doing what we did, we will get the same results. So something has to change. So that means you have to embrace different ways that are going to create some discomfort within you because you've been doing something for so long, and for the most part, you're convinced that it's working for you. But if you are able to step back and logically analyze the situation from a neutral perspective, you will be able to identify, this is what I've been doing my entire life, and here's where I am today, and I don't like where I am today. I want to change. Therefore, I must start implementing different behaviors. The general collective mindset is this, and this is the general phrase, and I'm going to break it down into more a detailed description. It's when we say one of two things, but what if, or what about? And I'll give you a very simple example before I dive in deep. And before I do, let me explain, quickly share the third aspect. They all align, they're all somewhat the same, and it's the mindset of taking a generalization or a metaphor either too literally or narrow it down to a very specific micro experience, your very specific micro experience, rather than looking at things from a macro level, a wide lens. Case in point, if somebody were to say, dogs bark, that's a generalization. Dogs bark. We can, for the most part, all agree that dogs bark. Some people will negate that comment by saying, well, that's not true because my dog doesn't bark. Now, here's the challenge. It's called cognitive dissonance. Your dog doesn't bark is true. Dogs bark is true. And cognitive dissonance is the inability or the unwillingness to embrace two opposing thoughts at the same time. So then that person will make a choice. And because they believe and they focus on the microcosm, they focus on their microcosm of that their dog doesn't bark. So they are convinced that if my dog doesn't bark, this cannot be true, and then they will double down on this. So for the rest of their life, they live with the mindset of, it's not true that dogs don't bark. But again, it's a generalization. Lions roar, snakes hiss. And there's always an exception to the rule. Another example would be this, with the what if. I share a metaphor. The early bird catches the worm. And somebody might negate that and by saying, but what if the bird is vegan? And they're talking about themselves, but I'm vegan, so therefore I can't catch the worm. But they've misconstrued the focus. The focus is not the literal interpretation of the bird and the worm being a living being and being protein, therefore we can't eat it. It's the general collective metaphor that illustrates that by waking up early, by being early to an event, by you get the better seat. It's the general metaphor. And if you let go of your microcosm world, separating the trees from the forest, I think the explanation is. Start looking at the forest and stop basing an entire mindset, an entire philosophy purely on your very unique, significant experience. And then let's go even further. Now you have to ask yourself, are these beliefs, because I don't want to encourage or inspire anybody to violate their core values. You should live with authenticity, with the ways and the belief systems that align with you. But here's the challenge with that. Are those core values truly yours? Are your belief systems truly yours? Are they an honest, authentic reflection of what you genuinely feel deep down inside before it was suppressed, before it was indoctrinated, before it was programmed? I'm going to quickly insert myself into the example. As a child, I was raised very Catholic, and in England, one of the common phrases was, children should be seen and not heard. What? And I subscribed to that philosophy. So as a child, I would be very polite and I would say nothing. Even if I saw atrocities, I would say nothing because I was programmed to be submissive and say nothing. And at the time, I had a bit of an internal conflict. Deep down inside, it didn't feel right, but you know what? I've been told this is how a good boy behaves. You say nothing, and I wanted to be a good boy. So I said nothing. And then that became my standard mindset. Until I started digging deep and understanding this doesn't truly align with my true essence. It aligns with the essence that was placed upon me. But it's not me. So in order to grow and become empowered as an empath, you've got to let go of all the belief systems, all the behaviors and actions, the choices you made that got you to where you are today. Now, if you are happy with where you are today and you feel that you're empowered, then stay calm and carry on. But if you're not happy, if you don't feel empowered, if you're still victim of narcissist abuse and bullies and manipulators, then it means something has to change. And the thing that needs to change the most is you and your mindset, not the external world. But what about this? No, what about this? This needs to change. I'm going to give one more example about how this microcosmic type of thinking prevents us from growing. And I'm going to keep using dogs because I just happen to love dogs. By the way, if you have dogs, let me know in the comments what type of dog do you have. They have changed my life. They have saved my life. Dogs are absolutely fantastic. The phrase, let sleeping dogs lie. Generally, we understand the premise. It's whatever isn't broken, whatever isn't in need of change, don't disrupt it. Let it be and let it continue in its calm, peaceful way. And then somebody might challenge that and say, but what about if the dog is lying on an ant-infested bed? Well, it's right. What if the dog is lying on a bed? You're missing the essence of the quote, of the metaphor. The metaphor is, if it's at rest and if it's at peace, let it be. There was no insert of very unique and very specific situations or circumstances. That's something you have inserted to either play devil's advocate, which some people like to do because it makes them feel good about themselves. It validates what they believe are their core beliefs. So they're going to challenge it because they, again, cognitive dissonance, they want to prove to themselves that their way is right. And again, if your way is right and it's working for you, stay calm and carry on. But for the most part, people who are empaths, neurodivergents, they struggle and suffer in society because they are unable to either adapt, to compromise, or to live authentically. So now you've got to make that choice. Do I want to compromise? Do I want to fit in and belong? Or do I want to live in my power with authenticity, dignity, honor, confidence, and courage? And if you do, again, you've got to start making these changes. You've got to start letting go of your microcosmic thinking. So in short, as a recap, open your mind, open your heart to things that are different to what you are currently used to, and take a step back, step out of yourself when possible, and ask yourself, am I validating my beliefs because it feels so uncomfortable to think of something else and something different that I'm actually maybe a bit fearful I'm so uncomfortable, I'm going to cling on to what I know. If you cling on to what you know, nothing is going to change. Everybody, thank you for listening to the Sigma Empath podcast, the rant edition. Please drop your comments. Let me know what you think. Is this bringing you any value? This is a level of tough love that I'm sharing today, but it's the type of love that sometimes we need. We sometimes need a gentle kick up the bum. Thank you.